Hello, Essa. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Doing good, thank you.
Thank you so much for going into the pit with me here for Alamo True Metal, San Antonio, Texas. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. It's evening here at the moment, so.
Well, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you today. I want to let everybody know that I have the pleasure of speaking with Essa Holopainen, original guitarist, co-founder of the great band AMORPHIS. What an incredible line of music and discography you have put out over the years. But Essa has another great record coming out a week from tomorrow, May 28th on Nuclear Blast Records. His self-titled solo band record, solo album called Silver Lake by Essa Holopainen. And Essa, before I get into it, we're going to break down the record a lot. But before I do that, I want to commend you because you are one of the few musicians that I know. I mean, Amorphous is, I guess you've been around since about 1990. And as far as I know, you guys have put out albums for the last 31 years, between 1 and 3 years. You've never taken a break, you've never taken a hiatus, and you are one of two members of the band who has played on every album. And off the top of my head, the only bands that I can really think of, or band that I can think of that has been that long without taking a break, like 5 years between albums or 8 years between albums, and having two members play on every album is Overkill with Blitz and Dee Dee Verney on bass. But you are one of the few. So congratulations. I don't know how you haven't suffered from burnout, but it's definitely an indication of how much you love doing what you're doing. What do you attribute all of that to?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for the comments. And yeah, time flies when you have fun, I guess. but that's true. But it's the big reason is also with the fact that how the whole music industry has changed pretty radically during the years, and now it's all digital pretty much. And as even I remember the times in 90s when we started, people still bought C cassettes, CDs, albums, and all that was played quite big role in everything. And I guess the most income for the bands these days, it comes from shows and touring and selling merchandise. And that I'm pretty sure is one of the reasons why, for example, Amorphis is so active. Yeah. We do tours and tours. Well, obviously not now because of the COVID, but in normal life. Yeah. And that's how it has been the last 10 years, I guess. It's like being inside a wheel that you release an album, then you go tour different territories and play shows there and there. Then you come back home, you take a month or two, record another album, and same thing goes. And now we really had to stop because of the pandemic and everything. But it also it put everything into the new light. Like, what to do now when you're home. You can't practice your profession, you can't travel, you can't do shows, and yeah, it's not easy for mental wise. It's not easy for the musicians who got used to tour and be super active all the time.
So as I would guess that the pandemic musically was maybe a blessing in disguise, because it gave you this break and a chance to work on the solo record, Silver Lake by Essa Holopainen. Is this your first solo record? Because you haven't had much of a chance the last 30 years to work on that, correct?
It is. And to be honest, within the last couple of years, it didn't even cross my mind to start to work with something completely different. But now that I had time because of COVID, how would I spend otherwise the time? Probably playing PlayStation or watch Netflix, half a year through. Right. And my friend who is running studio here nearby where I live, Nino Lauren, he actually kicked my ass and called me like, hey, it looks like you have time now, and should we start to work with your solo album? And that was a good idea. I had a couple of songs on my computer that that from where we started, different material on what I've used to work, for example, with AMORPHIS sessions. They were the songs that I really liked, but I didn't use them anywhere. I guess I saved them for some reason, perhaps this reason, I don't know. but it was very potential material, and that's pretty much where we started. And I actually, it's really brutal to say, but I really enjoyed last year, even though if you forget the lockdown and pandemic and all the health issues and everything people had, but I really felt relaxed because it was really the first time that I had to stop and do something completely different.
Sure. Well, I want to break down some of the songs. I'll start with a couple of videos that I'm going to include with the article version of this interview. And I've been listening to the whole album for the last couple of weeks. I love the diversity on it and the melodies and so forth. I want to start with the song Storm. Of course, first, let's tell everybody that there's 9 songs on the album. 8 of them have vocals, and then you have the opening title track instrumental. But out of the 8 songs with vocals, you have guest singers all throughout the album. So the video and single for Storm features Håkan Hemlin from the band Nordman. And for those who don't know much about him or haven't seen the video yet, I mean, I love the video. Just scenic over the ocean, some nice special effects with you on top of the rocks. But I know that with all these singers, you pretty much had to do, you were never in the same room with them. It was pretty much a Zoom thing like this, I would assume. Did working on the video allow you a chance to meet in person with Håkan?
Not really. I think, yeah, we work remotely, but it worked really easy. I thought there would be more difficulties in that, that we are going to face lack of information or something like this, but it just didn't happen. Everything went super smoothly, and all the singers who are on this album, they are all like really professionals, and they got used to work from their home studios or studios nearby. So recording remotely wasn't really an issue, and everything, communication was also remotely pretty easy. Well, naturally, the 2 Finnish artists, Tomi Joutsen and Finnish artist Vesa-Matti Loiri, we got a chance to record here in Helsinki in studio, but other than that, we worked pretty much remotely with everyone.
And how do you feel about the song Storm? It's one of my favorites on the album. A nice melodic, goes well with his voice. Your guitar tone is very soothing, and it works well with the video. But I want to hear how you would describe that song.
It's a great song. I'm really happy how it turned out with vocal wise and everything. That was one of the songs. There's a couple songs on the album. This is one of them that I really didn't have anyone in my mind who could sing this song. And I had voice in my head. I knew how it sounded like, but I didn't know anyone. My producer Nino suggested that, hey, I know a guy in Stockholm, his friend, who knows this guy from Nordman, Håkan Hemlin. And of course I knew who Håkan is, because Nordman, they were huge here in Scandinavia during 90s. They had a couple of really smash hits here. But he comes from very different musical background. It's like real folk music. But he's always been into rock and metal music, and Nino's friend Uwe thought that he might like the song, and I'm pretty sure he would be into it, and he was. So we got him involved, and I was really happy to hear the result, because his voice is still in very good shape, and there's a lot of charisma in his voice, and he's a great singer, and also I'm really happy that now I get a chance to introduce him for a bit wider audience as well, people outside of Scandinavia who haven't heard from him before.
I'm sorry, that was what I was just about to say. Was another thing I enjoy very much about the album is that most of the singers on it for us here in the States, of course, may not be familiar with them because they're all Scandinavian, European singers such as Håkan, and it introduces us who may not be as familiar with them as you are to their talents.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and you know, he's a great guy. He actually, Uwe, our friend with whom we got contact with Håkan, he actually filmed the storm video in Canary Island, and he took Håkan with him, and they really find all the perfect locations there, and it's really beautiful. I was really stunned when I first saw the first clips from the video, and Håkan was so impressed of Canary Islands that he's still there. Actually, he moved there. He didn't went back to Sweden anymore. Crazy guy.
That was a byproduct of the video. He loved it so much, the scenery. He's like, I don't want to go back, right?
Absolutely. And you know, I saw his Facebook feed once in a while, and he's having good time in Canary Island, and you know, he's enjoying life there.
Awesome. And you have released another video for the song called Ray of Light. The vocalist on that one, American fans might be more familiar with, is Einar Solberg from the band Leprous. And the video is very interesting. That's one where you are not in the video. It's Einar, but you only see his lips moving. And then there's a female, an actress, and then a cat. So how does the song fit with the concept of that?
Well, I gave the video director pretty much free hands to get inspired. He's a good friend of mine. He also did one AMORPHIS video, Among Stars, and he's a guy that usually films commercials. He's a commercial director, and he travels all the time. He's all over, and he got a great vision. He got a huge mansion where the video was filmed, and a nice actress there and there's actually a teached cat who is involved there, and I did a cameo role there. If you look really closely, you can you can spot me there for 2 seconds. Okay. I'm lying in the ground with a guitar. I'm passed out.
Oh, that was you. Okay, I'll have to watch it.
Yeah. But the idea for the video was so crazy that I really loved it. Einar's parts were filmed in Norway, of course. But the idea of the video is that the woman is a spirit who lives in the mansion. Okay. And that's pretty much it. And I'm passed out.
Very good. And of course, if you're going to have an album with guest vocalists, you almost have to feel obligated to ask your own singer. Tommy Hudson is on the song called In Her Solitude. What was his reaction how did you approach him? And did you give him free rein as far as saying, hey, this song might be your style, but also want to make it sound different than AMORPHIS? How did you balance that?
Yeah, I called to Tommy, and first of all, I really wanted that Tommy is going to be on this album ever since I started this project. Not just because he's my bandmate from AMORPHIS, but I really respect that guy as a vocalist and a person, and I definitely wanted to have him on this album. I called him up and asked, would you like to join this project? And like with everyone else, I sent the song for him, and we worked from there. The great thing was, of course, with Tommy that we had a proper studio session with him here in Helsinki, with everyone in presence, and we could really work together with the song. The approach for this song from him is pretty much, I guess, which is familiar from Tommy, that people has got used to how people got known Tommy. He crawls the verse lines and does clean vocals for the choruses, and In Her Solitude is also pretty much a band song. I think it's the most band song from this album. There's a lot of things happening with the guitars and drums and keyboard solos and a great song.
And a couple more I want to talk about. Essa Bjorn from Soilwork is on, of course, the original singer and founder from Soilwork. His voice is prominent on a tune called "Promising Son," and he's a fantastic vocalist as well. How much history did you have with Bjorn, and what was it like with his contributions on that song for this album?
Bjorn was also one of the first vocalists that I approached. I sent him a message that, hey, I'm working with my solo project. That would you be interested to collaborate with me? And I sent him the demo from my song, and like Einar and Jonas, he replied me that absolutely he liked the song, and he's absolutely willing to work with the song. Björn he's super professional. He's amazing vocalist. He was one of those guys who really wanted to work with his own vocal arrangement, lyrics, and melodies. And to be honest, the song itself, it's a bit heavy. So there was a lot of artistic freedom. Well, I gave him total artistic freedom to do what he feels good to do. And I was kind of expecting that he would probably do something what he does in Soilwork, but the result reminded me more of the work, or the vocals what he does on Night Flight Orchestra. And I was really stunned. I love that stuff, and it was just absolutely great. He's one of those vocalists that still today he amazes me how good he is. He's every time you hear a new Soilwork album, you can hear that he's proceeds to another level, and he's just going there and there. And usually musicians or vocalists at our age, they're stuck in within their standards, and they are happy there, which is also fine, but he's always going further little by little.
And then the song after that, Essa, is called Fading Moon on the album. It features the only female voice on the record. It's an artist I'm not familiar with, but I very much enjoyed the song and her voice. What can you tell us about Annika van Giersberg?
She's a really star. She was involved with the band Gathering from Holland back in the days. They were probably the pioneers. What for the scene, what is now become like more like female-fronted singer scene. We have a Nightwish, Within Temptation, bands like these. So I think Gathering, for sure, they've been influential for all these bands. And today, Annika is pretty much working as a solo, and she's got one of the most unique voices, and she's a true artist. If you ever have a chance to check her out while she's doing her solo shows, it's just her and guitar, and she plays covers and her own songs as well. But it's absolutely great. Yeah. She doesn't need anyone else around there. It's like a great charisma and absolute star. So I definitely recommend you to search for her music and the Gathering music, what she's done in the past.
Awesome. And Essa, I have a question from one of my social media followers. It's an AMORPHIS question for you regarding the song Silver Bride from the Skyforger album. Aaron Copeland asked, as far as the subject matter, do you think I want to say this right, the Kalevala, Bruno 37, the subject of the song Silver Bride, he wants to know if you think that is a folktale warning mankind against the threat of teledildonics, which I guess is robotic sex. And the song is basically, I guess he interpreted as the death of a man's wife, and then he ended up building another female who ended up being a robot. Do you have any thoughts about that in the subject matter of Silver Bride?
Yeah, it was actually in the Kalevala, it was Golden Bride, but I don't know how it in our lyrics it turns Silver Bride. The lyrics are heavily inspired from Kalevala, but like on Silent Waters album, the Skyforger album and Silent Waters album, the lyrics are written by Pekka Kainulainen, who is like AMORPHIS lyricist, and he writes solo lyrics. But that is pretty much true what he is saying. It's about the blacksmith who was forging a bride for himself, and according to Finnish mythology. And I don't know if the bride became a robot, but like in every story in Kalevala and Finnish mythology, it didn't turn out that good.
And as very good. Could you kind of summarize for me, since you are in Helsinki, you are a Finnish band. There's so many great Finnish bands that have come out from your native land. And just what is the scene like there? Is it just always booming? How long, when was the peak, or do you think it's in the peak now in your country with bands just kind of spreading the gospel of their music and their style of symphonic metal, especially is their type of music mostly? How would you characterize bands that have been coming out of Finland, such as not only your group, but Nightwish and bands like that?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of bands in Finland, and I've really lost the count. I don't even know what's happening in the scene today here, but it's right. Finland is very active when it comes to practicing music and teaching music, and like especially now during the pandemic times, it's people are just, I don't know if it's same thing in States, for example, but people are more keen to buy instruments. Perhaps it's because they've been locked down. They spend more time at their homes. They start to practice guitar or whatever instruments. So, like beginners instruments, decent priced guitars and drums and everything, they are selling super good at the moment in Finland. And I think that also tells about how much people are into playing and forming bands. We have a lot of different kind of bands, different scenes, and it's really hard to categorize that we would really have some specific genre here, what people are doing. I guess it's part of it's probably somehow in Finnish people's DNA that everybody wants to put their own thing into their music. So that's one of the reasons we have such large variety with different kind of bands here. It's really hard to say that it would be just like symphonic metal bands or black metal bands, or it's quite a soup what kind of bands we have here.
Yeah.
But if you see the bands which have succeeded most, I guess Nightwish, for example, AMORPHIS, Sonata Arctica, Children of Bodom back in the days. Fortunately, they don't exist anymore. But these bands, Stratovarius, they all have their own thing what they do. It's not every band has their own thing what they want to do.
Now, I'm not sure as to how common a Finnish name Holopainen is, and I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But are you related to Thomas Holopainen from Nightwish, or are you friends with him?
We are friends, yes. We've been talking about this, but we are not related. From my father's side, our family goes same area where he is and his family is, but we are not like in any way straight related.
Okay.
We should do more deeper research about that. But Holopainen it's more common surname where Tuomas lives actually than here in southern Finland.
Okay. And as I mentioned just at the start of our conversation that AMORPHIS has never gone more than 3 years without producing an album since the band's formation 31 years ago. To keep that streak alive, since Queen of Time came out in 2018, that means we need to see a new album this year. What is an update? I know you guys have been working in the studio. Can you give me the latest on what is going on, how far along you are, the production, the direction, and the songs?
Yeah, we are about on halfway when it comes to recordings. I'm flying to Sweden on Sunday to record my guitars, and then Tommy starts to work with his vocals. And then there is keyboards. So I guess we have everything ready till the end of summer. Hopefully, we are working again with Jens Bokren as a producer, and he produced last two AMORPHIS albums, Queen of Time and Under the Red Cloud. So So far, I'm really happy with the material we are working with, and I'm pretty sure that the album will sound quite big when it's finished. Scheduled release is around early 22, probably February 22.
Okay, great. And one of the downsides of the pandemic was that AMORPHIS was scheduled to visit here in San Antonio in October, last October at the Rock Box. Of course, that was canceled as part of the shutdown. I know you're not a promoter. I know you're not a booking agent, but do you foresee how soon do you foresee those American dates and San Antonio being made up when the new album comes out, at least in 2022?
I really hope so. I really hope so. We changed agency in States, but we are already working with the new tour and with the new dates. I wish I could tell more about that, but it's pretty much we can't release anything until we're pretty sure that the tour is going to happen. Otherwise, we release a tour which we're going to postpone because of the pandemic again, Right. But yes, absolutely, we're working with a new tour.
And was that going to be your band's first visit to San Antonio, or have you played here before?
I think it's going to be, yeah. I don't remember, or then we played there like long time ago. I can't remember.
Okay. And, a consolation for me, even though the show got canceled last year, was that I had the fortune of covering you guys on the 70,000 Tons of Metal in 2017.
Oh, okay.
I was in the photo pit during your set on the top deck of the ship.
Okay,
so the photos for this article, along with the new videos from Silver Lake, I'm going to post the photos that I shot from that night of you playing live. But
great.
What was that? What was that experience of playing on a cruise? What was that like for you?
It was amazing. We've done couple 70,000 tons cruises, and it's it's like for the audience and the bands, it's a holiday, and it's a great how amazing mood there is. You could easily figure out that it's not that clever concept to put the artist and the fans together, but it works so great. It's great to talk, to have a chat with the people, and everybody knows they can give some space to you, and it's great. It's like a great happening.
Well, so you are one of the reasons that it works so well, because you are a very humble musician and easy to get along with, down to earth. And I thank you so much for going into the pit with me here for Alamo True Metal. A reminder to everyone listening, go get the new album coming out May 28th. It's next Friday. Essa solo album called Silver Lake by Essa Holopainen. Some great vocalists on there, some great songs, great musicianship. I thank you very much for taking the time all the way from your homeland in Helsinki, Finland, to talk to me here in Texas today, Essa. So thank you to you and Nuclear Blast. And want to let everybody remind them to go check out AlamoTrueMetal.com and Alamo True Metal on Facebook. And don't hang them out to dry. Hold them up high. So thank you so much, Essa. Once again, I appreciate it. And I really hope to see you here in San Antonio with AMORPHIS soon, and hope to shake your hand in person there to thank you for this interview at that time. Okay, take care.
Oh, absolutely. We make that happen. Absolutely.
All right, Essa. Take care. Thank you so much. Good luck.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.